what would you do to scale to 6 figures in 6 to 12 months in a brand new city?
First thing I would do.
All right. So yeah, Manny and Ashley, super excited to have you guys on WLMA Weddings and Wine. And I think it's literally been about a year that we've been working together. You guys joined, I'm pretty sure from what we talked about last July. It's been pretty much exactly 12 months. We've seen you guys accomplish some pretty awesome goals recently, an $18,000 a month. From last July until 12 months later, this July, what has bookings and everything looked like since then?
So according to Honeybook, we bought the course in July, and we started immediately using the formats, right? We weren't even done with the modules yet, but we just started putting the principles into place because we had been a business for about a year or so, a couple years before. I feel like
we're going into our fourth year.
We're going to our fourth year.
About 3 years.
Yeah. And I have been doing it since I was younger, but looking at the numbers from July to this July, it broke 103,000.
Heck yes, let's go.
And it's been a whirlwind because I was not expecting any of those things to happen. And it's funny, there's still so much work to do.
100%.
There's still so many things to continue to do. So that's what booking's been like.
We go through like phases where we're like, okay, we're doing really good. We're running the ad. We're doing our consultations. We're giving away free sessions, booking people. And then we have a couple weeks where we're like, all right, we need to take a step back from all of that. And we need to like address the technical side of things and like the back end side of things to make it easier and smoother for the next time that we go into that like booking season and running those ads.
Yeah.
So
the simple
that's
fact,
kind of where we're at right now.
The simple fact that we had to slow down because I mean, it's a testament to your method and how it works. It's easy. It's easy to pull in those leads. And we weren't expecting that for it to be able to generate those leads on demand, as you've been saying. So it's been a crazy year. But shooting for, more financial goals and at the same time having the balance with all of it. That's been our biggest thing.
That's amazing. And huge congrats to you guys. Cheers to you guys on that accomplishment as well.
Hey,
and
thank you so much,
hitting
man.
6 figures, first year in the WLMA and everything. That's so cool.
Yeah. Just like even...
And that's massive for us because when we first started, like our first year we did weddings was January 2018.
Yeah.
And we... did like part-time, and then it's been a very slow grow. And those first 3 years were all like word of mouth, and we were guessing at our income, and we were just hoping that things would work out. And like maybe doing like an Instagram ad for like $10 or $20 here or there.
Not knowing where it was going to end up.
Exactly. So to be able to hit that within 12 months of starting the course is like, it's like we couldn't have even dreamed of that happening. We knew something was missing from our business from the marketing standpoint and from like the processes behind the scenes standpoint. But
that's amazing.
You were the fix for that. That's what we were looking for.
Now I kind of want to rewind a little bit as well. Because this is something that I don't even know too much about. Tell me a little bit about, both of your stories as well. How did you guys get into the wedding filmmaking business in the first place? What did that journey look like, getting where you are today?
You want to start?
It's a little bit long-winded, but
That's okay.
I think it's a good story. I always grew up in a very creative household, so I grew up with music and art, and naturally those were things that I wanted to pursue as I got older. And as I continued to do those types of things, right, as I continued to draw, and I was always sharing my work. I was never afraid to share my work. That was one huge thing. And almost to a fault at times. I was too proud of it almost at times. And I used that because I don't really feel like I was ever good at anything, like really good at anything growing up. So art and music were kind of like my strong suits, but what disappointed me was it was hard to make money doing music and doing art. And I ended up falling into photography kind of like in 2015, just shooting my friends were getting married, my best friends were getting married, and shooting engagement sessions for free, and having them say like, whoa, these are really, really great photos. And I was shooting on a T3i 50 millimeter lens, the basic equipment, and I just used it to death. And I fell in love with creating images and finally videos too, and finally understanding like, oh, that's how you get the blurry background, and learning all those technical sides. And when we got married, I had quite a few jobs. So for a few years, I was
our first year of marriage. He had like 9 jobs, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, it is not an exaggeration. Because what I realized as I got married, I'm like, I don't want to go to work. And I used to work in a law office. I used to work for the federal defender's office, like paperwork stuff, because I just thought that's what I was supposed to do. Didn't go to college or anything. And as I continued to hone my craft behind the scenes, there was a lot of late nights of, crying and wondering if this is something I could do. And I ended up, I don't know, we got to a point where you can tell the discount tire story. Because I feel like when I quit that job.
Well, when you quit Discount Tire, is that when you found Mimic?
Yeah, so I used to work for a jewelry company.
Shooting photography. So I'd say that
was a little bit closer to what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, I was using a camera for a living, but I've done it all. Like I put tires on car. I used to work on UPS.
Had a brief stint in a taco shop.
Yeah, I used to work at a taco shop for like 2 weeks. I worked as a concierge, picking up drunk people late at night on the weekends. And I was miserable.
Yeah.
And once I quit Discount Tire, admittedly not with a whole lot of
tact
and cushion.
No plan in place?
No, just 3 months of work, 3 months of photography work. So I did a combination of wedding photo and video, and I also did video production. So I was shooting music videos. I was shooting like mini commercials for restaurants, and that's how I was making it until it got to a point where we were doing more weddings. Yeah. And we started to...
Our very first wedding actually was... someone that I had kind of grown up around, and she was the bride, and she had seen when Instagram first started allowing videos, and it was like 15-second clips, we would go out on a date night, and he would make a video of it, and just like a short, quick, fast thing. And she loved the style of those videos, so she didn't choose us for her wedding photos, but we got to do wedding video for her. And that was our first
12-hour day for $300.
Yeah. Oh my god,
I love it.
No idea what we were doing.
And then it was January 2018 where we did our first wedding. Yeah. I had Ashley's second shoot with me.
So we did 3 or 4 weddings that year.
Yeah.
I think it was 4 total. Mm-hmm. And then every year we like doubled.
Yeah.
After that. So it was 4, then we did about 8 the next year, then we did about like 15 or 16, and then now we're up to quite a few.
Yeah, so like reeling in her, I mean, you can tell your side of it. Like you came from a different background completely.
Yeah, he brought me into it. So I did dual enrollment when I was a teenager. I was dual licensed for
haircutting,
cosmetology, and barbering by the time I was 18, and so I was creative like in that aspect. Yeah. I did hair for almost 5 years, and then I got tired of the salon life. It just is not the environment I wanted to be in. And so from there, I worked at a bakery. And then I worked at the same jewelry company that he was working at. And
so we've been working together for a while.
That's how you guys met as well?
No, actually, we met at a beach bonfire just by random occurrence. Yeah. I had talked to her.
We got married in 2016.
Yeah. So it was been
6 years now.
Yes, about 6 years now.
Yeah.
Since we've been married. And you stepping away from, your barber career, it was pretty scary because you liked making your own money.
Yeah. And I liked having a set income, and I'm good with just putting my head down and going to work every day and just doing my thing.
Exactly.
I also am the type of person to put my head down and I don't know if it's going to work, so I'm just going to keep doing it anyway.
And
so we kind of balance each other out in that aspect.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Sorry, continue.
Go ahead.
And
no, Okay, you go.
Curious as this as well, like, especially as you guys went through all those different jobs, I'm sure, especially it sounded like going through these jobs, there's a lot of maybe frustration, there's a lot of maybe anger with the current situation and kind of the repeat of all these different things. How did that come into play? Maybe when it came into motivation or desire to do something different, diving into the wedding industry and everything.
So I think that was more his desire, not with the weddings, but like with doing something creative and making it work.
Yeah.
So as and it started very gradual for me to be pulled into it. And he's like, hey, I need help with this. So I would help with like contracts, or I would help with timelines, or I would help with consultations, things like that. And then eventually it was like, hey, I need a second videographer. Hey, I am booking this wedding for photo and video. You need to learn photography in the next like 6 months.
I don't think I said you need to. I'm just like,
I was like, hey, you need to shoot photo. I'm going to shoot video. We got 6 months to learn this.
I'm like, it'll be easy. It'll be easy. Don't even worry about it.
So he pulled me in that way. And you want to take over?
Yeah, I mean, she did great. And I feel like the thing with Ashley is she has such a ability to understand the technical side of things very quickly, as long as things are written down and in a certain order, which I became more organized in my way of teaching her. And, you know, it wasn't always the best way of, you know, saying certain things to her, like...
We did a lot of learning and a lot of growing in our communication as husband and wife
100%.
as we continue to grow in our business, which is why I'm happy it's been a slower grow, especially at first, because I don't like to take on too much too fast. We don't like to take on too much too fast, and then everything else in our life gets out of balance.
Right.
Exactly.
We like balance.
And it kind of reminds me a little bit of my story, especially kind of hearing the different jobs you guys had before coming into weddings. Because I remember when I was in college, especially, I was kind of like you. I wanted to be a musician at first. Not many people know this, but I wanted to be a musician at a time. And that's why I went to a certain college as well to perform music with one of my friends. And when I realized that wasn't going to pan out, and I realized that like, I needed to figure something out that was a little bit better than just maybe playing music on the side and everything. That's when I kind of dived into photography a little bit when I was a missionary and all that. And when I couldn't get that to work, and because it was a lot harder than I expected it to be, there was that time where I was working as a janitor. And I remember when there were people who thought I was supposed to be a photographer. They knew me. They saw me in that janitor job. I was like, I need to get out of this.
Yeah, I mean, I was always, I guess I was always faking it till I made it, but I really believed in
at least at
first, but I really believed in what I was doing. I knew that there was something there, and thankfully, like, me and Ashley made certain decisions to get there. I mean, we lived in half of a house. We lived in a garage. Like, we made sacrifices in
our lifestyle so that we could keep the balance, but put our time and energy into building a business.
Yeah.
And as we started to grow, she got pregnant.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, okay, so
it was always EP photos.
That was my brand.
Yeah.
I mean, it's anyone who's listening to this and knows me, they're like, Manny's had like 17 Instagrams throughout the years.
Yeah.
Always starting an idea, always starting a business.
Yeah.
And
I do want to say though, like, I have always been a very big supporter of him. And by the time that I decided to jump in, it was like we jumped in both feet. Our daughter was 3 months old, and we had enough money to cover 3 months of our bills. And we're like, all right, we're going to go,
go hard and
we're going to jump in the deep end, and we're going to make it work. Because if not, we're going to go back out and get another job.
Sometimes
and that's
you
where
need that.
Yeah. But he has always, by the time it got to that point, he had so many ideas, and I'd seen the work and the dedication that he'd put into it. Even if it didn't pan out, after a couple months or whatever, there were a lot of things that had built and a lot of things that did work out well. And so we had to do a lot of pivoting. He had to do a lot of pivoting, but his dedication to that, it gave me the confidence to be like, all right, this is something that if we're both doing it and we're able to balance each other out, we have to be able to make it work.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we found out we were having a baby, that's where the name Isn't Live came up, because, you know, we were just thinking of names. We are just like, Isaiah, Olivia, Isn't Live. We were just like throwing around names. We were just having a good time kind of thinking about our future and like, how is this baby going to change our lives? And
how's that going to affect our business? How's it going to affect our lifestyle?
How does that affect
for our lifestyle?
Yeah, how does that affect EP Photos? And we ended up changing the name to Isn't Live Films.
Yeah.
And like I said, it represents that moment in time where we decided what we're doing, our why. And I didn't know this back then. I learned it after having this coaching call with Crystal.
Yeah.
The reason we do this is to, of course, to provide a service to others, especially because we didn't invest in our photography and wedding video. I don't want people to ever feel like that. I want them to have something awesome to look at. And I want them to feel like, man, I look like a rock star. Or, man, this is like a music video. I feel so cool. And I love shooting cinematic stuff and seeing people tear up and cry, and just knowing that they have that forever, you know? And it's for that reason, but also so that me and Ashley, we wanted to raise our daughter together, and we wanted to do things differently than how things used to be, where you have to work 40, 60 hours a week. And I just wanted to be the type of dad that was attentive and present. And I feel like we've accomplished a lot of that, really starting
last year
when we bought the course, because not only has the course provided a financial, you know, reward, but at the same time, we've learned to be different people, and it revealed a lot of flaws in our personality, especially in my way of thinking. I'm an emotional person. I take things to heart, and I really care about my work, and I care about the things that I do to a very great degree. And at that point, I'm just like, okay, this has to be the greater purpose. And it's done that.
I love that.
Isn't Live has become the machine that, like, she's sick this week, so we can take care of her. We can spend that time with her. And that, to me, is better than money.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I want to dive a little bit into that as well, especially when it comes to, you know, learning to work together as a wife and husband team. And because I do the same thing with Crystal, my wife and everything, really trying to figure out those strengths and weaknesses that we both have, and also diving into being able to scale your business while having kids as well. What did that look like in you guys' journey as well?
How did it look like to you?
Well, I think learning to work with each other, we are at a good place right now, but we can always improve. I think that it was a lot of not giving up during arguments or disagreements. I am a very non-confrontational person. I don't like to, I would really rather just, okay, that's how you want to feel, okay, that's fine. But when you're in business together, and when you're parenting together, and when you're married and you're doing social things together, when you're together all the time,
certain
if you
things
don't
can't
speak
slide.
up, certain things can't slide. So if you don't speak up, that's what I've had to learn, is being able to speak up and communicate what I need and what I would like and what I don't like. And I think for you, I think you've learned to be a little bit calmer in your approach to me.
Calmer in my approach to you, calmer in my approach to work, and not freaking out over certain things, because things happen.
100%.
Quite often to us. and typically when things are going good, something usually happens that's kind of weird, and we're just like, you know what?
It's not the end of the world, but it's a challenge that you have to overcome.
What I've noticed is the challenges we face, like raising our kid, finding time and finding where our priorities land, and searching for all of that. It's taught me really to roll with the punches as often as I can, and understand that's like,
which I'm really proud of you for being able to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, it's always a work in progress, and
But I do think it is always a work in progress. Not to cut you off.
No.
I do think that we did a lot. We made a lot of progress, before we had our coaching call with Crystal.
Right.
But I think that was a page turner for us. Like that started a whole new chapter because we were able to have the tools we needed, which we knew we needed some tools to be able to dig deeper within our business, to be able to dig deeper within ourselves, with each other, to figure out why we do what we do, who we're trying to attract, the kind of people that we want to be, all of those things. And once we were able to put those puzzle pieces in place and figure those out more, we saw massive leaps and bounds within ourselves, within each other, and for the business as well.
It all just started with Crystal saying, like, you got to write down what kind of lifestyle you want. And your lifestyle can look different than other people. For us, we're pretty simple people. You know, I put my emphasis on experiences, not on clothes and a bigger house,
and small daily things. Being
able to sit outside in the rain with Riley, or being able to, you know, watch her play without the worry of like, I gotta get back to work.
Exactly.
Once we wrote those things down and had a goal, as soon as we did that,
we stopped feeling like we were spinning our wheels.
But we were planning last year, actually this year. We did that this year,
Can I turn the fan on?
Yeah. We did that this year, and once we did that, we were planning for next year to be hitting those numbers.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's be cautious. Let's give ourselves a year to play with this Facebook ad. Let's give ourselves a year to understand how the back end works. And it just happened fast. Like as soon as we wrote down the amount that we needed every month that we want to have to whatever, paid bills, everyone needs a new car, like at some point, those types of things. It started refining who we were talking to, who we were bringing in for as our couples. And
then as we figured that out and we figured out who our ideal client was, it kind of kicked us into gear, and we're like, okay, well, if we say this is our ideal client, these are the kinds of people that we want to be bringing in, then we need to be living that same lifestyle as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to be active. We need to be outdoors. We need to
learn to roll with the punches.
Exactly.
Learn to
we need to genuinely, truly care about every single person that's in front of us on the screen in every consultation. And we need to work on those things, which takes a lot of internal work as well. So that
and it wasn't always pretty.
Yeah, and
100%.
we started making some big strides that way as well.
It even took me, going to therapy and understanding why I react a certain way or why I feel a certain way, and learning how to emotionally regulate. And I think that's the biggest thing, honestly. Both of us learned that, emotionally regulating through issues. Because I'll tell you what, Jordan, it is, there are nights where the kid has given us a lot of pushback because she's a toddler.
Exactly.
I get it. But it's exhausting and it's draining leaning into that cry and not just trying to send her away. Learning how to be a parent and taking courses on being a parent and just revamping all of these different aspects of our life. And then you're so drained from that, but you gotta do your 4 calls that are coming. And
100%.
and that's where I feel like we've really been able to
our resiliency.
Yeah, our mental resilience.
You guys have started to really feel like building that stress threshold,
that's what
that
it
you
is,
guys can handle and everything. I was just writing something a little bit about that recently, because we often people often think about, when we think about training our bodies. Let's say you want to hit that marathon, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you need to get your body to a certain threshold, certain stress threshold. But it's 100% same thing with our minds, especially if you want to take your business to certain levels. You have to be able to continually raise your stress threshold so you don't go crazy at certain tough times. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
exactly. And I really resonated with something that you had posted a couple of weeks back on Instagram about as long as it doesn't matter how fast you grow or how slow you grow, as long as you're continuing to grow.
Yes.
You don't stop.
As long as you don't stop. So that, I think, has been I really resonate with that, because we've had a slow grow in the business, and I want a slow grow in the business. I don't want a sudden
Yeah.
oh my gosh, we have $100,000 month, or
Yeah.
I don't know, something
Me and
crazy
Aiden were
like
just
that.
talking about
And
that.
then
Yeah.
we're so stressed out that we can't handle it. We need that slow growth so we can get used to it and continue to do it the right way, not let quality drop.
Right,
Things like
because
that.
bringing like our biggest month this year was 18,000. Breaking that,
Yeah.
but it takes a lot to get there,
Mm-hmm.
and to bring in even more, it takes more time. So I just don't know that we're ready to do that yet. So
Mm-hmm.
it takes a little bit of like, hey, let's hold off on the ad. Let's prioritize our mental health.
Yeah.
Let's clean up our email series. Let's
Mm-hmm.
look at our ad copy on our website. Let's refine our landing page, our thank you page, our YouTube. Like, what things can be improved upon. And within those 2 weeks, we have a nice little break, and then we're ready to go again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's been, from what we learned last month, that it needs to be slow for us.
Exactly.
And the amount of money and the lifestyle that we live now is working for us, and that's what a marketing course
Yeah.
has changed us as humans.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. Like,
That's so cool.
working out and all those things too.
That
Yeah.
reminds me a little bit about something you said earlier on one way I've really loved to think about how a business is really run and how I like to run my business. And sometimes I like to coach students on thinking the way they look at their businesses. And I often look at it as like a factory. So it's like you almost imagine you have like a factory in the middle, and under that it says your business. And then you have different webs going in different directions. One web might be sales. One web might be advertising. One might be your nurturing funnel. One might be your branding, and another is your client experience and your service. And you find in different months that in order to keep the very middle of this running, the factory, and for that light bulb to stay afloat, sometimes you need to light up and prioritize different sections of that business. You know what I mean? Like sometimes like, all right, ads are running really well, but I'm feeling like I'm not getting enough wedding consultations. So it's like, all right, boom, nurturing funnel. What needs to focus on here? Or sometimes there are consultations, like I'm closing 90% wedding consultations, but leads seem kind of slow. What's wrong with this? Boom. You're focused like 80% of your attention on those ads. And
it's cool seeing where your attention, like you can see the machine. Like I see the legs and the arms and the body of Is and Live, and ad copy. Man, ad copy is so important.
I love ad copy.
So,
He has fallen in love with ad copy.
because I'm just like Aiden texted me the other day. He's just like, tell me about your bike. And I don't know if he was testing me or not, but like, because he wanted to get a bike, and I'm like, let me just try to do an exercise. So I was like, Avasta bikes, great 700C. You know, I can't do it right now.
He made a whole ad copy for his bicycle.
It was just like, dude, bro, crazy. And I enjoy it. I've been enjoying having my non-visual aspects of branding. Like I even have it pulled up right now. And as we've gone through these trials,
we continue to refine it.
Our values changed.
Yeah.
Like, before we valued like nature and being kind to that, but we're like, connection is a better word, and humility is a better word for us. Empathy, intention, because that's what we want for our clients and for our couples. We want to show them empathy. We want to show that we are humble, and we always have something to learn. We don't do everything 100% right all the time. So those things have really refined us, and that's what populates your website.
I got so excited when you did make that post in the WLMA about like ad copy. Like, oh, finally someone's geeking about this with me.
It's great.
It's so important. It's such a powerful skill. And I'm curious as well, you know, when you guys did meet with Crystal, for people who don't know, Crystal is my wife, main branding coach in the WLMA. When you guys did meet with her and really dive into these things, how do you feel your brand did change before and then after that?
Oh, we had no idea who our ideal client was.
Right.
And if you don't know who you're trying to get, then you don't have really any direction on your website. It's kind of like a hot mess, which is kind of how ours was.
So figuring that out was huge.
It was massive, being able to figure out, and also it gave us a lot of, I would say, like a sense of direction in what we're trying to accomplish. I have always been very big on the customer experience.
Right.
And I think it really helped us dial in giving a good customer experience
Yeah.
and ensuring that the people that we work with are going to be happy, that we are going to be the right fit, because we don't want to work with someone that we're not going to make happy.
Right.
You know, we want
Exactly.
everyone who works with us to be happy, and we want to make sure we're a good fit because of that. And we had to figure out those keywords, and we had to figure out our purpose, and we had to figure out all of those things in order to make a better client experience, to have a more cohesive website, to attract our ideal client, which is going to help us enjoy our work
Right.
and help our business grow better overall.
Because last year in September, you know, we had joined the LMA and then we went to Kentucky, right? To chill.
Yeah.
So I was half and half with Is and Live for a long time, actually, because I really wanted to do video production, and I'm really into cinematography and how to light certain things and composition and all that kind of stuff. So it was in September of last year. I'm just like, you know what? I need to be humble, take a step back from the cinematography stuff, because I'm just spinning my wheels.
Yeah.
And we haven't done much of the course. We kind of knew our consultations, but we need to dial in on that. And I saw that there was going to be essentially bigger money coming in for a little bit less work. So I'm like, let me just try this. And I put my head down for 6 months. We put our head down for 6 months. And as we started getting into 2022, I'm like, man, this is bonkers. One, the amount of work, but two, just the amount of ROI, our return on investment. I'm like, what? Like, how does that I grew up in a, you know, middle-class family, and my needs were always taken care of, but having my own like adult money, I feel like it's taking me like 7, almost 10 years to get to this point.
Yeah.
You know?
What do you feel like was that biggest factor, like, especially in the strategies as well? Like, what do you feel like was the strategy in your business that, if you were to pick maybe say one or two of them, because I know there's a lot, that propelled things forward the most?
You choose one and I'll choose one.
I'll choose one. I fell in love with the structure of the consultations and being able to lead conversation. That's also one thing that really interests me as well, is talking to people. And I kind of describe it to her as this, but like when I talk to people, it's almost like the curtains kind of close in right here, and I have like words selected up here.
Yeah.
And it's like all connected via like these lines, and I learn and I take them and I move them certain places. And that's why I talk with my hands, and I see every conversation between you and me, between us, as this little floating picture box. Like, that was a good conversation, and it's like wrapped up nicely when I'm done. I'm like, was that a good conversation? What could have been different? So the consultations, building rapport and stating the agenda, I never knew how to do any of that stuff. And now what's great is I have so many ideas for businesses, like podcasts and stuff like that. Like, I want to use that for other things and learn how to land clients in a different avenue.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing for me. I don't know.
That's the hardest thing for me.
You've gotten really good at speaking. Like, she has little
gotten a lot better.
projects.
Yeah.
Like going out with your friends and like, oh, I don't really know them too well, but I'm going to learn how to like speak and ask questions and learn to be empathetic. Like,
and when I'm in work mode on a wedding day, I will be the loudest that I need to be. And I will be as straightforward as I need to be. But the consultations and the conversation is something that I have always struggled with more. I've always been more quiet, and I tend to take a long time to warm up to someone, to have a deep conversation with them. And when you're talking about your wedding day and you're talking about money, a lot of money, and you're talking about, you know, desires and expectations, that's a pretty big conversation to have with someone the first time that you're meeting them.
Yeah.
So that took a lot for me. I couldn't even do the consultations at first. He had to do them so that I got comfortable hearing it.
Yeah.
And
we would record
and then I was able to slowly do it. And, you know, like, he did a couple of them with me. Now I can handle them. And I still get really, really nervous before I do a consultation.
Yeah.
But I am able to be much more forward. I'm able to be much clearer and
say less words. The saying less words comes across more powerfully.
Being more precise.
With the words. Yeah. And slowing down.
And more authority as well. It gives you more authority as well.
Making that couple feel safe in our hands and figuring out like, why are you nervous about this?
Yeah.
I get that. I feel nervous too.
And
sometimes,
I have a deep
just in
understanding
general.
for people who even have trouble in the beginning with learning the wedding consultation process we learned. Because for me, I'm 100% the same thing. People don't always see this because I'm an outgoing person, but especially, 5-10 years ago, very shy, awkward like person,
Yeah.
despite me being outgoing. And I remember
Right.
I used to just wing these wedding consultations with Crystal. And
Yeah.
Crystal,
Same.
she's very opposite of me, very articulate. She's extremely articulate, and I used to get so nervous. I'd fail these wedding consultations that I would just be winging, and then I'm like, I'd be like, I can't do it. Like, babe, how about you take over with the wedding consultations? And I just used to be
Yeah.
so bad and so nervous at them. I'd hand them off to her, and so it took me a long time. And then once I started realizing, I found this through a lot of people outside of the wedding industry, because I couldn't find someone in the wedding industry who could teach me sales at that time.
Right.
And realizing that there's a framework when it comes to sales. And then I was like, how can I make this work for like weddings? Like, can I use a similar, if not the same, like framework when it came to weddings?
Yeah.
If I were to show my photos during this consultation, where would that be? Could that same psychology like type of work? And once I started seeing that like work, it kind of blew my mind as well. Like, oh my word, like this is 100% working. You know what I mean? Almost,
Yeah,
it's kind of the same experience with copy, because it's like you do sales, and then when you learn, say, a script or a process and you get it to work, like you're like, holy crap, that just worked. And it's the same thing with copy, because it's initially the same thing, just not speaking. And then you write an ad and you use a certain framework when you realize what the psychology looks like for great copy and ads. And then you see it work. You start to see it bring in leads, and you're like, what is this dark magic?
Yeah. There was one ad we did.
He gets the smile that you have on your face right now. He gets the exact same smile when he's seeing the success of an ad. I'm just like,
Yeah, there was one ad we put out, and I mean, it's way more refined now, but like we put it out and we had 70 leads in 1 month.
That's amazing.
70 leads, but it wasn't just the ads that were bringing us in like the money. Essentially, for the last 2 years, we didn't know we had to do this, but we just did it because we thought it would work. But our Google SEO has been top notch.
Yeah.
Like we
started
investing
over
in that
2 years ago, I think, or a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. We
Yeah, that's
started
awesome.
with having our SEO worked on. Because that was like our first step into growing our business. And after we started that, we're like, okay, this is good. It was a good decision. We feel very confident in it, but we still feel like we're missing something. And then that's when we found a course.
And at that point, I'm just like, man, I think we had to start talking about it. And of course, Google hears everything, right? And then on YouTube,
We started getting advertising.
and then I saw yours. I'm like, this is exactly what we just said. That's weird.
Yeah.
And then I had
That's
seen when I
hilarious.
was scrolling, I had seen your ads a couple times separately from what he saw.
Yo, that's weird, bro.
I know. Crazy.
But it works. It works.
Yeah.
Like putting the ad out, and you came across genuine, and you were legit. Like you had all of your stuff online. Like it was really easy to find what you did.
Yeah.
Checked out your LLC, all that kind of stuff. And that's what, at that point when we were on the call with you, I'm just like, I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's, what else are we going to do?
Yeah.
What else are we going to do? Like we were at that point where we were just ready to just go for it. And we made that back 100 times over.
That's
And
amazing.
I feel like I mentioned this before somewhere when we were talking, but I am not the kind of person to make a decision fast. And when we were on the call with you,
I'm thinking in my head like, oh man, we gotta whip out the card right now. Like this has to happen now.
so we were on the call with you, and I think we muted ourselves for a minute or two
I
to talk
remember
about
now that you guys mentioned it.
So we muted ourselves, and we both looked at each other and we're just like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we've been looking for. It's what we need. And that is incredibly rare that has happened. Especially for me, because he's more of like jump in both feet, see how it goes. I'm more of a, hey, let's take a little bit and let's talk about it. Let's see how it would fit for us. Let's take our time. There's no rush. But immediately we were like, this is it. We got to get this.
And the fact that our friend Aiden was on there too, we're just like, oh, very coincidental as well. So it's just all these things fell into place. Like with WLMA, like it just fell perfectly into our laps, and it's completely 180'd our life.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, we've been super happy to have you guys part of the family as well. And what you guys were mentioning earlier about SEO, that's what I've been seeing as almost like its own golden trifecta of when it comes to lead generation. 1, Facebook ads. 2, vendor referrals, especially venue referrals, and then SEO. And it's like when you have those 3 things optimized, working together, it's just a pretty consistent gold mine as far as that.
Yeah.
And then you start adding
when
in.
one slows down, the other picks up, and it just constantly goes in a circle.
There was one month.
Working.
There was one month we were just pulling in leads from Google.
Frequently. Sometimes it's a little more than, some months are more than others, but I mean, I would say we get at least 1 or 2 solid people who are ready to book, looking for a wedding photographer and videographer just from our SEO, from our Google.
And even in between ads, like...
Or 1 or 2 a week, every month.
Yeah. And even with like in between ads, I'm always putting out like awareness ads just to keep our face in front of people, you know, not letting it run dry, and, you know, updating Instagram, like all these things, like in their place, they all work together, but it's not just focusing on one thing, it's focusing on the machine itself.
Exactly. Now, wanting to dive into this a little bit. So we've talked a lot about, you know, habits, personal growth, and how that affects your business in the past as well. One of my mentors once told me, this is one thing that I'll always remember to this day. He told me, you know, we don't always have business problems. We have personal problems that affect our business. And that was a statement that blew my mind at that time, because I was in a place where I felt like a lot of my habits and I needed a lot of personal growth at that time. So for you guys, what do you feel like has changed as far as your personal growth and habits when it comes to your personal life and running your business the past 12 months? What does that look like?
Man, eating right, working out, like we're at the point now where we're just eating meat, raw milk, raw honey, fruit, and just like fueling our bodies. And I say working out because it's hard to work out after a really rough day or when something's not working. And what she taught me was, even if you just set in your mind to do 5 minutes of a workout, it's better than not doing anything. So, I mean, that happened today. I mean, we were feeling under the weather a little bit, and I did 15 minutes. Like, that's all I could handle. And those personal habits, like I feel when I don't eat right. I feel when
you need to move your body,
when I need to move my body. And I've gotten creative and done it in so many different ways: rock climbing, bike riding, being outside, getting sun,
walks,
pool. Just, that's been the biggest thing since we started the course, is like, man, you start from the inside and it's going to radiate. And after that, you feel confident on calls. Like,
and I feel like that's not something we learned until we took the course, and until we really had the call with Crystal. Like, we are our business.
100%.
And so we have to, the business isn't going to be smooth, run right, you know, go easy until we've mastered our own habits and our own lifestyle, because we are our business. So we need the mental growth. We need to be able, that mental resiliency. But then also from a physical standpoint as well, because your physical health impacts our business, being able to be good on a wedding day and be able to run around and carry heavy gear and have all that energy, because wedding days are long days. And
then being able to have all the energy to play with our kid and to take her places and to still come home and, you know, put her to bed after an engagement session. Like, I mean, we've had a lot of help, and a lot of support. And you know who you are. I mean, not only WLMA and yourself and your wife and Aiden, but
like family and friends as well.
Family and friends I've always had really supportive friends. So like, if they're listening to this, like they wear my shirts that I drew and made. They come, support us, they follow us, they like our stuff, they share us. Like, we just had a really great support system throughout this entire journey since I feel like 2015 even. We felt supported as people, and I don't think we would be where we are. Yeah, I don't think we would be where we are in this state of mind without all that support. So having a support system is really, really huge.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And 100% true on what you guys were mentioning earlier. And I think especially if you can turn, even going beyond discipline, turning discipline into that habit for all the times that you don't want to go to the gym or something, which is honestly, even for me, most of the time.
I see you out there, bro. I see you out there. I'm like, man, he's getting it, man. He's sweating.
Like, there are times, exhausted. Especially by I usually like to work out in the mornings, but if I want to do like these Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA stuff, it's on the evenings. I'm tired by that time. And usually like an hour before, I'm like, I really don't want to go. But if you just make it a habit to go, it makes the work for your business even easier. Because you get in that habit of just doing things no matter how you feel at that moment. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think a big mindset shift that I've had in the past couple of months.
I'm super proud of you for the amount of stride you've made, in everything.
I've lost like 20 pounds.
That's amazing. Congrats.
So it's been really awesome. Yeah. But I think the mindset shift, one, he helped me with all my food, so I didn't have to think about it.
The waste stuff.
He loves nutrition and all of that, so that's helpful. But I think a big mindset shift was not waiting for the motivation, because if you're waiting for the motivation, you're gonna you're always gonna be inconsistent because you're not always going to want to do it. And so you have to stick with it and be consistent until it turns into a lifestyle, until it turns into a habit. And then that makes it easier to push through on those days when you don't want to push through. And then I think that is what's translated over into our business as well, because
just the amount of volume we put out and the quality of work even.
Yeah, it's like, man, I do not want to do this. This is exhausting. I hate
just running into
it right now. But you're running into those mental roadblocks and things like that. But the more you do it and you don't wait for the motivation, and the more you're able to push through it, even if it's slower than you would like it to be, or slower than it's been in the past, being able to push through things in our personal life, I think has helped me a lot with being able to push through things in the business.
For sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what you often find is when you push through even without the motivation, you find that after, say, that first 10 minutes, you're able to get into that flow state. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Correct.
That implies when it comes to working out, when it comes to working in your business, it's always that just initial step forward that sucks.
You just learn little tricks as you go along.
And you push through that resistance.
Yeah, for me, I know that I can't listen to music when I work. I have to listen to white noise. So like an airplane cabin. Yeah. Put on my noise canceling, and I use the Pomodoro technique, and I work for 25 minutes and I take a break for 5. And oftentimes I'm working for an hour straight and not even realizing it. So
exactly.
Or even 3 or 4 hours straight.
Yeah.
I mean, I can really dial in once I'm focused, and especially with ad copy, I get so into it and I just start writing words. I have
yesterday he was texting me all day about how he's changing this and how he's so excited about that, and how it's going to do this and it's going to do that, and look what I refined and look what I changed and look at these words and what do you think about this?
It's gonna attract this client. This is the client we want. We know where they sleep. I know.
Well, no, we don't know.
Not exactly where they sleep. I know, you know
where they shop.
You know where they shop. You know their income. You know the type of phones they use. You know their career and
the lifestyle they like to live.
Right, and I'm just whoa, I know all of this stuff. Because that's been our client every single time. And I forgot where I was going with it, but you made huge strides.
Yeah,
thanks.
For sure.
That's awesome. Sure. And what's so cool is, especially when it does come to ad copy, is the words have so much power. So even sometimes people have an ad or an email or something that's struggling, and so you just have to keep testing, because I've had times where I feel intuition in my heart that this theory of an ad should work, and I just change the headline and it explodes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's changing up those words in a way has so much power to attract a very specific client as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to dive into this, especially because I know client experience, your guys' editing workflow has been a very big part of your business and working with some really amazing clients. What have you guys changed and done when it comes to your client experience and your workflow? And how has that impacted, maybe clientele and working with the right clients as well?
You start.
Yeah,
You start.
From a client experience point of view, just from the moment we get on a consultation, what our purpose is to, and I tell my clients this, I tell my couples this too, like, I just want you to be happy with what you got. If it's not me, it's not me. And I've tested that, saying that. I don't know if it's right to say or not, but it breaks down walls for people. And I just try to remember that they're just real people. So the client experience for us, for me especially, because I was never that great at the client experience and talking to clients. That's why I had her.
Yeah.
I've learned to treat people like humans and treat them as if they're family. And that's translated into even this little moment in a wedding video doesn't need to be in there, but I want to put it in there, and it translates to the work, right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I think also something else is so we recently this year started doing welcome gifts for all of our clients, and that's something I had always wanted to do. And they change a little bit. So, it'll be something that's personalized to the couple. So it gives me more incentive, I guess, to dig a little deeper about who they are and what they enjoy on the consultation, so that if they do end up booking with us, I'm able to personalize it a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're still refining that portion of it, and I'm going to make some changes to, the presentation and what's included as we continue to move forward this year. But I think that's a big... Sam, go sit down.
My dog just...
Sit. Sorry.
No, you're good. My dog's right over here. Just hoping he doesn't hear anything to start barking.
We talked about that already.
Yeah.
So what was I saying?
The welcome boxes.
Yeah.
Refining that experience.
Another big thing, or at least it's big for me, and I think it's something that our clients really appreciate as well, is as soon as they book with us, we start a group chat between Manny, myself, and then both of them.
Yeah.
So that they're able to contact us with questions or
if it's late at night. Yeah.
Or, it's just, it forms a line of open communication. And I think that is a big part of what our client experience is, because I want to help. You know, if it's questions about wedding planning, or if it's questions about colors, or if it's questions about this, that, whatever, it doesn't matter. I enjoy it.
Right.
And I want to be someone that my couples can trust and can feel free to come to with anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of what I want the experience to be for everyone we work with.
And the customer journey, even on the wedding day, is just, delivering and we're really big on saying what we mean. And I really mean it when I say, I don't want you guys to worry on your wedding day. That's why we pick trust is one of our values. And that's why I want trust to be so evident in our relationship with our couples, because trust us to do awesome work. Trust us to make sure that you'll have your drink on your wedding day. You don't have to wrangle people. That's what we're here for. And we step out of our roles sometimes if it's going to make the day go better, because
that's awesome.
It's not just we're here to just capture the moment. We're here to just make sure that you're having a good time as well. And that's the biggest thing that's changed a lot in our customer experience. And
something that helps with that, can I?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Something that helps with that is we have multiple consultations, in addition to the open line of communication, we have multiple consultations with our couples. So most of our packages come with complimentary engagement sessions. So we have a chance to talk about the engagement session, interact at the engagement session.
Right.
We have, an initial timeline consultation where we talk about that. We have a finalizing one. So
and then all the little communication up until then too.
Yeah, and all the little texting communication as well. So we have a lot of touch points with our clients, and we want them to trust us and to feel like we're close friends and family on the wedding day, because that's how they're going to be comfortable with us. And a big thing of what we like to shoot is intimate moments.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're not going to get those intimate moments
If
if
we're
they
not
don't
close.
feel comfortable being around us.
Exactly.
So,
Curious
That's great.
about this as well. Because it seems like, trust going above and beyond, really capturing like those in between moments that aren't the most obvious thing, but are really special is a big part of your brand. How do you guys communicate those things? Because it's one thing to experience it, but it's another
Right.
thing to, how do you guys communicate that even before they decide to work with you?
I mean, they already know that we are a candid, intimate, and authentic wedding photographer. Like that's our jam, and that's all over our website.
Yeah.
That's in our work. And also, I think how we communicate it is we don't just pose. We utilize prompts, and prompts give us the ability to see those in between moments and make it candid and make it authentic. So
and since every couple is different, and I'm very big on capturing each couple's interactions because every couple interacts differently, and using those prompts, I'll get them set up. I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel confident. But then using those prompts, every couple reacts differently to them. So it allows their interaction with each other to shine through. And that's how we get those candid and authentic and intimate moments.
we want the real and unfiltered version of their love story. So if they snort when they laugh, like you want to see that crinkle in the nose, you know what I mean? And like if they like to dance, like having them slow dance during the engagement session, and those prompts really allow someone to, like, I say, ignore us, do your slow dance for about 30 seconds and just talk to each other.
Yeah.
And randomly I'll be like, pick her up and swing her, or I don't know, make monkey noises in her ear. Like things like that get these reactions out. And I think that's one of our biggest points in the
So it also
customer
seems
journey.
like, throughout this whole customer journey, you guys pinpoint things that are actually really unique about them and this couple. And then you can look for those types of things like on their wedding day and to make it something even more special for them.
Right.
Yeah, and I think also to answer more specifically the question that you asked at first, we do that in the consultation process. So the video, if they're looking for photography, videography, or both, we have a what's it called? The video that we show, that's the pictures. Like a slideshow? Like a slideshow. We have a slideshow, and we have specific pictures that we've picked out in order to showcase moments that have happened and tell a story about them.
Yeah.
In the video, we let them watch it because with Zoom, there's lagging every time we've tested it, and so we don't want to provide a bad experience with that. So we send them the video.
That's been working so
far. We let
far.
them watch it.
Yeah.
And then after that portion in the script that you have is the question, what about the photos or the video resonated with you? And then
Having them tell us and
having them tell us what they like. We can kind of build off some things earlier on in the consultation, asking questions about, like their relationship with their family. Are they close with their family? Are they not?
Is it more of a party vibe for their wedding? Is it more
What
of
are they looking forward to? What are they nervous for? And then by taking that information, we're able to see, okay, are we going to be a good fit for them? Are we not going to be a good fit for them? And we take all of that combined with the question, what resonated with you after you watched this? And I think at that point, we're able to, if we are a good fit for them, explain to them why we are a good fit, the things that they would experience with us.
Right.
And then
and we're very malleable.
they're able to sell themselves to us as well by saying, oh, I really like that. Oh, I really liked that. Or, I didn't really like that because of X, Y, Z. And that's okay.
And we
it's good
adjust.
things to know.
Yeah, and we adjust based off that. Like I mentioned before, some weddings are more party-like. They're like, I'm really wanting more like party shots and reception shots. I'm like, that can work. I have an example like that. And so we're the type of people that, like, that's why I say empathy is one of our values as well, because we know what it's like being in front of the camera, and we can put ourselves in their shoes. So if they're the type of couple that's just like, yeah, have some shots with us and let's have a party, we'll do it.
Yeah.
But if they're more reserved, we can be reserved too, because we all understand the sanctity behind marriage and all those things as well. So being personable and being empathetic and malleable, humble, those things are man, those values are super core in our customer journey.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And talking a little bit about like the album viewing and stuff, there's pretty much for, I think, probably 90% of the wedding consultations that I would do. I had one album that I'd use because I had such good stories for this particular wedding. I'd change it up if it was like a beach wedding or if I was traveling to a whole totally different like type of wedding and stuff. But I just knew these stories so well, and kind of a big part of my brand like was in between moments. I started photography as a photojournalist, so that was something that was really important for me. And I had this one photo that was such it was pretty much this the wedding was basically running late, and I decided to pop my in, leave the ceremony, pop back into the dress rehearsal, and it's just really intimate moment of the bride just like sitting down, the mother on her knees, her hands like on the bride's lap, like looking into her eyes, like crying and everything. And I always use that story. I was like, or like, this is something that you won't see in most wedding photos because it's one of those hidden moments that you don't often see. And this is something I love to call the in-between moments. And that gets them every time.
Yeah. That's what it is.
And that's why like we don't shoot all candid photography. We don't shoot all post photography, but we like to have a mix of both because there are moments in a wedding day where you need to be more forefront and you need to give more direction and you need to tell people what to do.
Or the photo calls for it to just be like, all right.
But then there's also times of the day where you have to be a fly on the wall and you have to just let things unfold, let emotions unfold, because that's the only way you're going to get those intimate moments and those real authentic emotions.
100%.
Yeah.
Really, really important question I want to ask as well. I like to ask this one, especially because there's a lot of people who will be listening who maybe feel like they're in this boat where maybe they're starting from scratch or they really kind of feel clueless on what they should be doing in their business. So humor me with this. Like, let's say you, out of the blue, both you left Florida, maybe you moved to Michigan or something.
Yeah.
And you had a goal of hitting, 6 figures in 6 to 12 months. What would you do to scale to 6 figures in 6 to 12 months in a brand new city?
First thing I would do is I would 100% open up a Pages document and I would write at the top of it non-visual aspects of branding. And I would figure out the type of business that I wanted. Could it be another wedding photography business? Could it be, a video business? Whatever it may be. But I will 100% make sure that my purpose, my values, my brand story, my mission, my vision, all of those things, I would have that in place. And then after I have those things in place, it's just a matter of, start a Squarespace site, right? Doesn't have to be perfect, right? Just yet, but get it started. Start running some ads using all these words. It all starts from the non-visual aspects of branding.
Yes.
To me, like it all starts there. That was the one thing.
That's what was missing from our business.
So for example, we took a couple weeks off from working and taking consultations, and I was just able to just pick it right back up again. I know how to bring it back in, and it all starts from having words surrounding our brand and making our business multidimensional, not just Isn't Films, photography and video. It's Isn't Films, candid, intimate, authentic moments captured. That resonates a little bit more. So moving to a different city, I would 100% just start with that, hire someone to do the Google SEO, if it's Kentucky, like we've been doing, right?
Yeah, we had our SEO guys start working on some Kentucky keywords because we're hoping to get there within the next couple of years.
Have like a little summer place up there. Yeah. And that's what we want. And I'm so grateful, to you, Jordan, and to the course and everything that you've made and to the friends that have helped us. Because now this is, I don't want to say it's easy.
Yeah.
But there's a clear way to do it. And I don't have to sit here anymore and hope for the next lead or spend my time finding the perfect hashtag on Instagram, or those things are paid advertising. It works. It works. And so that's my strategy.
Awesome.
Our strategy. I guess you concur.
I think the other thing I would add to it is just do free work.
100%.
Obviously the right free work, giving it away to the right people, but definitely like,
and putting out content.
Yeah, I noticed after we started the course and we started doing more free engagement sessions, I noticed a huge jump in the quality of the photos that I was taking and in the quality of the client experience, and even how much more confident I felt going into a shoot after doing like
10.
6, 8 a month,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that is a big thing. Don't be on a high horse and be like, oh, I'm only going to do work that I'm getting paid for.
Yeah.
I would focus the majority of our time, like making sure our back end stuff, like Google SEO or non-visual aspects of branding, our website, I would make sure those things, and then I would start filling it in with useful tips towards that, whoever my ideal client is. I mean, that's something we're doing with YouTube right now is we have all these blogs. I have plenty of script work. We just need to make the time to
make a video out of it.
And we're making the time now because of how successful, we feel Is and Live has been. And that's been awesome to start doing those things.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And one thing that's so cool is like, if you know your ideal client, you know how to communicate and you know how to advertise, you know how to take people from a stranger into a raving fan of your brand.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're doing a complimentary engagement session, let's say if it was from a contest or something, you can convert so many of those at higher ticket prices. And where people feel like they end up getting discounted is because their brand may actually be kind of a discount brand in the prospect's eyes. But if you can frame things from a totally different perspective with the words and filter in those right clients, and you actually end up doing a lot of these, say, complimentary engagement sessions, you can convert so many more of them at the price point you really value it at and everything.
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing this for years, but we're not above free work. And I was always filming something for somebody when I was just starting. Like I said, I would go to restaurants and shoot their food. I would, go to hair salons because you were in hair and I knew how to film that. And it just started blowing up at that point. And people knew me as the guy that did video. And I don't think we would be where we are
if you didn't do that free work.
Yeah. And I don't want to say it was just all me because you supported me in that, but like, it really goes to show that like you can't be too afraid to put out your work. You're always going to grow. Like, I mean, look at my other wedding videos. Like, everything gets progressively better, but at the core of it, free work, no one's above it, no matter what business you're in.
Yeah. It can build the most momentum quickly and then get you to that point where the brand is really solidified enough where you don't really have to do that as much and everything, because that builds the fastest relationships where they get to be with you and experience
the law of
that session
reciprocation
and talk with you. 100%.
Yeah.
And final question I want to ask for both of you, maybe you both can answer this in your own way as well, but what is one piece of advice you would give wedding photographers or filmmakers who are struggling to grow their business right now as well?
One piece of advice I would give, I would seriously consider asking yourself why you are doing what you're doing. Starting from there, because running a business, especially a creative business, is super hard. And knowing your why, every time it gets super hard, and every time you are at your computer and you don't have enough RAM and everything's moving super slow, and when you maybe disagreed with your wife and the air is kind of messy, you have to remember your why, and your why propels you to understanding your vision, your values, your brand story, and knowing your ideal client. So for sure, understanding your why and also putting out free work.
Yeah. And I think to piggyback on that, because they kind of go hand in hand, is, gosh, I just lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? What did you say your tip was? Knowing your why?
Knowing your why.
I think so. Mine was not giving up. Because there have been over the past, I mean, really since you started 5, 7, 6 years, something like that, that you've been slowly, doing it more and more and more and more. And then 3 years since we started doing it together, there's been a lot of times where we wanted to give up. So I would say don't give up. And even if you can only do a little bit, even if you can only accomplish one small thing, stick with it, because those small things are going to compound and they're going to turn into big things.
Yeah.
And so I think that is a very important thing. And
having a longer term view of where you want to be.
Yeah.
And it all starts with just knowing why and understanding that.
Yeah. Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
And love that compounding thing as well. That's one thing that has always been such a big thing for me, because we're human. We have times where we have a ton of energy. We have times when we're frustrated. We have times when our energy is depleted. But if you really just look at things as a marathon and our big vision, your why you're doing this, your long-term goal, and you just chip at it. I like to think of building a business as creating a sculpture, and you're chipping at it every single day. You're not giving up on that, and you're just going to keep chipping on it until it becomes clearer and clearer unto that vision on what you dream of, what you're thinking of. You're going to get to your goal much faster than you think.
I thought of something else. I think also, oh man, I'm going to embarrass myself because I just forgot it. I'm so tired. I'm sorry.
You're good. That happens to me a lot.
It's the parent brain.
It's mom brain.
Yeah.
Was it on something on compounding, the sculpture?
Oh, man, the sculpture.
Building.
I think I think I was going to say something along the lines of make sure you love what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make sure you're passionate about it.
Don't do it just because someone else is doing it,
or just because you think you're going to make a lot of money. Because if you're approaching it with that mindset, it's not going to be genuine.
Money's fleeting.
And
money's very fleeting. And
getting in the art world just for money is that's a tough place. You gotta love what you do.
you will be severely disappointed. But I mean, if you can market it right, I mean, there's
you can take it pretty far. 100%.
Yeah, I might do that one day.
Where can we find you guys as well?
You can find us on isandlivefilms.com, IZANDLIV films. Also, same thing on our Instagram, isandliv _films, and our YouTube channel, or Google. Just type in Isandliv Films, Orlando, Florida, and we're like number 4 or something like that.
Awesome.
Sure.
Awesome.
Sure.
Yeah. I'll put it in the description of this YouTube video and everything as well. But thank you guys so much. Great stuff. Great conversation. I really enjoyed having you guys on as well. Thank you.
Hey,
thank you. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we really enjoyed this. This is a treat, and we really appreciate just being on, learning from you, learning from the WLMA team. It's been a crazy journey, and we don't plan to stop.
Awesome. Our joy.